Here's the rest. Thank you so much. No problem. Congrats to you both. You're probably thinking, why is that girl so happy about giving me money? Well, it's my consulting fee for helping to win over her crush. Yep, it all started about a month ago when, thanks to my amazing advice, my BFF Haley won over this hot boy, Luke. And the best part is, it only took one picture. Well, I know that boys like Luke are so fed up with dating the popular, hard-to-please girls. So when my cute, sweet-natured friend handed him a sketch she drew of him, then shyly confessed her feelings for him, as expected, Luke fell head over heels for her. How did I come up with such a cool plan, you ask? Well, I basically have the superpower to read boys' minds. That, and I also know the real personality of each type of boy. Why? It's because I've lived with my 3 wonderful brothers for the past 15 years, and every day I had to put up with their bad habits. Ugh. Such as my eldest brother, Axel, the jock. Outside, he was always shiny and well-groomed, but at home, he never tidied his room and once went a full week without bathing. Ew! Then there's my second oldest brother, Stefan, the prodigy who didn't say much. Unless he's at home. Then he won't quit bragging about everything in the world. I swear, I've never seen him be quiet for more than a minute. Then lastly is my youngest brother, Gavin, the friendly one. Haley thinks he's so kind and gentlemanly, but she doesn't see him at home when he's always teasing me and stealing my food. God, just talking about it makes my blood boil. So tell me, ain't I qualified to open a relationship counseling service with such broad knowledge of guys yet? And actually, it was Haley's idea. She'll go find clients, and I will give advice to help them win their crush's heart. And up till now, our consulting success rate is 100%. So it's not surprising that our name quickly spread throughout the school. One day, I was eating lunch when Haley ran up to me and excitedly said, "We have a big client." Who is it? Turns out it was Claire, a popular mean girl at school. I immediately shook my head. I'm not going to do it. You know I don't like Claire at all. Come on, she's paying double than usual. Nope, I don't want to help her. But Meline, please, I already took her money. What? Was she being serious? Then, meeting my glare, Haley hurriedly continued. You see, Claire is already super popular. So, with your brilliant mind full of tips and tricks, she'll get the guy, and you'll get the validation. I suppose this would be good for the consultancy. Besides, Haley had a point. Regardless of the type of boy, I always knew what was needed to attract him. Okay, so who's our target? Ryan. What? Ryan, as in the nerd? Claire likes him? In response, Haley just smiled, nodded, and then bit into her lunch. Well, I didn't expect that, but whatever, that was Claire's business. Even if the target was a nerdy boy known for hating girls and not dating, it couldn't intimidate this Meline. So, I embarked on the tactic mission for Claire. Now, let's see, a nerd would definitely fall for a girl with the same interests as him, right? So, the very next day, as planned, Claire was waiting for Ryan in front of the literature class. Seeing Ryan from afar, she immediately pulled out the book Wuthering Heights and pretended to be reading intently. But Ryan just passed by without even glancing at her, so she immediately chased after him and read a paragraph aloud. But Ryan kept on walking and even put his headphones back on. At this point, Claire could only stand there and stomp her feet. Well, that was a big fail. Seems like I needed to change the strategy. What about Lego? I mean, what nerd didn't like that? With this in mind, I spent the whole day helping Claire assemble a model of Hogwarts to give to Ryan. She proudly showed him the masterpiece, but he muttered out, "No thanks," then walked off, leaving Claire with a dumbfounded look on her face. And so, over and over again, from getting Claire to give him Star Wars cookies, to sticking a picture on his locker of her dressed as Black Widow, my tricks just didn't work on Ryan. God, why was this guy so odd? A few days later, as I was putting my books in my locker, Claire appeared and said snidely, "What kind of services are you guys providing? It's been weeks. Why hasn't Ryan noticed me?" Slow but steady. Just keep with it. Trust me. Poof, trust you? I'll only give you another week. If you don't get the job done by then, I'll make sure everyone knows how much your advice sucks. Then she left. Ugh, what an obnoxious snob. But what else can I do? I must finish the job, else my consultancy services would be over. Besides, this Meline couldn't fail like that. And that's when I had an idea. As you can see, Ryan is engrossed in writing an essay on his laptop. And there's me, Claire, and Haley sitting on the table nearby, pretending to read books, when in actual fact, we were watching Ryan's moves. Suddenly, Ryan let out a yelp, which made the whole library jump and gained him a dirty glare from the librarian. Then Claire sashayed over to him and said in a sweet voice, "Hey Ryan, is everything okay?" "No, my laptop's glitched out. My important essay is on there and I haven't saved it. This can't be happening." He jabbed at the keys. "I'll take a look. I'm pretty good with computers." She leaned over the laptop. Suddenly, Ryan's laptop made a noise and came back on, and the essay was perfectly fine. Wow, who would have thought that a hot girl like Claire would be such an IT expert, right? Ryan profusely thanked Claire and even invited her to lunch. Aha! Success, finally! But hey, don't tell me you also believe that Claire knows that much about computers. Of course not. It's all thanks to my brother Stefan. He showed me how to quickly install software to make it look like it was broken. So I used it on Ryan's laptop when he went to grab a book. My bro also showed me the secret code to get it working again in a flash, and I passed this on to Claire. Finally, the most difficult mission I've ever faced was over, and Claire and Ryan were officially dating. I wanted to celebrate, so I planned a movie trip with Haley. But then Luke surprised her with amusement park tickets, and she canceled to go with him. Ugh, so much for mates before dates. So here I am alone. It's safe to say I was in a bad mood, but then to make it worse, the couple sitting behind me kept teasing each other, loudly smooching, and even kicking my chair. Ugh, I can't take it anymore. I turned around and was about to give them a piece of my mind. Huh? It was Claire with Jackson, the troublemaker from math class. The two of them also panicked when they saw me. What is this? Didn't she just ask me to help win over Ryan? Before I could ask her what was going on, she dragged me into the lobby. You better keep quiet about this or else. I don't get it. I thought you liked Ryan. Please. Of course I don't actually like that nerd. I'm just using him. If you tell anyone about this, I'll make sure your consulting service is finished. What? Is she threatening me? Well, it's true that she paid for the consulting service, but that doesn't mean I accept her using me for malicious purposes. I couldn't just stand by and watch Claire play with Ryan's feelings like this. So I left the movie theater and went around to Ryan's house. As soon as he opened the door, I blurted the truth out to him. He looked bummed out about it, and then shouted at me to go away. Please, Ryan, we can't let her get away with this. We need to teach her a lesson. He thought about this, then eventually nodded and gruffly said, Yeah, fine, whatever. Luckily, that weekend, Claire's parents invited Ryan over for dinner. Now, let the payback plan commence. It's Claire. My phone went off, so I borrowed my sister's to text you. Come over in 15 minutes. I miss you so much. Okay, on my way. Love you. X. I was going over the plan once again in my head, then I suddenly saw someone sneaking near Claire's bedroom window. It was Jackson. He quickly climbed into Claire's room. I texted Ryan at once. The prey has arrived. Then climbed in after Jackson. Seeing me, Jackson was frantic. What on earth are you doing here? Right at that moment, we heard footsteps outside. Afraid to be caught, Jackson ran over to the window to escape, but I quickly rushed over to block his way. What are you two doing in Claire's room? That was Claire's mom, and behind her was Ryan, and a panicked-looking Claire. Claire, please can you explain to me why there appears to be a gathering taking place in your room? Claire gave a flustered look, then blurted out, well, I'm dating Jackson. I only lied to you that I was dating Ryan because he's a top student, so you wouldn't stop me going out to see him, as I knew you'd never accept Jackson. It turns out, Claire's parents were so excited about her daughter dating such a smart boy like Ryan that they wanted to invite him over, which is why she hired me to help. They were furious to learn she'd been deceiving them. And no surprises, they grounded her for a month with no allowance. Poor her, but she had it coming. So, now what? Well, I decided to stop the consultancy service. I love helping people, but I don't like seeing anyone get hurt. Most people used my service for the right reasons, but I can never be sure that someone wouldn't use it for the wrong reasons again, and I don't want to be any part of that. It's not all bad anyway, as I've made a new friend out of it, Ryan. Speaking of which, he once caught up with me after class and said, "Hey, I need your consultancy help. It's pretty urgent." I sighed and replied, "Ryan, you know I don't do that anymore." "But you owe me one. I want you to help me ask this cute girl out. I really like her. Her name is Meline." "Huh? I didn't know any other Madelines." "Oh, hang on. Did he mean me?" Right on cue, Haley and Luke appeared. "Hey, Ryan, if Meline rejects your case, I'll do it. I have a lot of experience, too." I rolled my eyes at her, then peered at Ryan. OMG, he liked me. I couldn't stop blushing. It looks like this matchmaker may have just accidentally managed to match herself. It was such a beautiful weekend, but instead of being out having fun, I was stuck at home. For what, you ask? To teach Excel to a girl who doesn't even know how to use Shift key shortcuts. What is the matter with you? I've explained the code 20 times to you already. I'm sorry. Let's face it, you suck at this. Try to beat me in your dream. If I had to waste one more second sitting next to her, I'd go crazy. Look how fake you are. If you're mad, then just show me. Why do you always have to be Miss Friendly? Let me introduce you. That's Laura, my so-called sister. 2 months ago, my mom brought her home and announced, "Jeff, I have something to tell you. Back when we broke up for a while, due to your parents' hatred towards me, well, during that time, I found out I was pregnant. I gave birth to our little girl, Laura. I was only 22 and I had no money, so as much as it pained me to do so, I gave her away. I've never stopped thinking about her, and now, well, I've managed to find her." She dabbed at her teary eyes, then handed Dad the DNA test results. Dad was overwhelmed and ran over to hug Laura. They all cried a lot and hugged a lot. As for me, I just stood there in shocked silence as I watched this family reunion take place. It all happened so fast. How was I supposed to believe that it was just a coincidence when Mom suddenly found her long-lost child after so many years? "What now, Skylar? Stop being so headstrong." Mom scolded me, then rushed over to Laura and started cuddling her and soothingly stroking her hair. "It's not my fault she has the learning capacity of a slug. Stop interfering, else I'll quit teaching her. By the way, those loving mother-daughter things also? Cut it off! It's ridiculous!" I know what you're thinking. What's with the attitude towards my mom? The thing is, she's not even my real mom. A few months ago, something crazy happened to me. A strange woman showed up out of nowhere and claimed she was my mom. Say what now? Of course, I told her she'd got the wrong person. But when I saw the selling contract between my mom and her, I froze in shock. Turns out, my mom miscarried a child, but she was too afraid she'd lose her place in the family, so she bought me from this woman. So, I was adopted. It's common, right? But still, I don't deserve to be treated like that. I had always been neglected since I was little. Mom never hugged or kissed me. She didn't read me bedtime stories or tuck me into bed at night. All she ever did was snarl at me. "Go away!" I guess I convinced myself that this was just how Mom was. But then Laura arrived, and Mom is totally different with her. I get it now. I get why she treated me so cold and why I've never felt happy despite growing up in a wealthy family. Because I'd never belonged here. After the incident with the woman, I confronted Mom about it. I get it. I know I'm not your real daughter, and that's why you think it's acceptable to treat me like garbage? Oh, please, stop with the dramatics. Let me tell you this. Even if you did adopt me, I'm still gonna prove my efficiency to Dad and take over this company by myself. Mom was dumbfounded after hearing that. Then, not long after that, she turned up with Laura. That's why I didn't believe there was no coincidence. She brought Laura back to compete with me. And if that was true then, what do I have to be scared of? How are my two girls? Skylar, are you still helping Laura with her studies? Yeah, Dad. She still helps me every day. Thank you so much. Okay, that's great. When you move past the basics, I think you should take a few more extra courses. Do your best and try to follow your sister. There's no way she can be as good as me, not even in her wildest dream. Laura is very smart, and she'll soon be up to speed. I'm also teaching her more about our family business. Huh? Is Mom going to teach her more to compete with me? I can obviously see her greed and competitiveness. But whatever. Laura and I are at two distinctly different levels anyway. I am an excellent student at the Columbia Business School, while she's just an uneducated nobody. Poof! Please. I have absolutely nothing to worry about. Mom kept forcing her to study, but... See? Speaking of Mom, she'd been acting weird lately. One minute she treats me like a stubborn stain she can't get rid of, then the next she's trying to set me up with some guy named Dean. He's the son of her super rich colleague. I don't understand why she suddenly feels the need to find me a boyfriend. And Dad wasn't helping the situation, as instead of telling Mom to stop playing matchmaker, he was encouraging her. Ugh. Okay, I just wanted them to quit bugging me, so in the end, I agreed to talk to this Dean guy. But now, he won't stop messaging me, and he's even shown up at the house. I suppose he is kinda handsome and nice, but he's not my type. So I just talked to him out of politeness. Until one time, I saw Laura sneaking a peek at Dean while he was waiting for me in the lobby. Wait. Don't tell me she likes Dean? Oh well, she's welcome to my leftovers. I don't like this guy anyway. Then one day, I was walking along the corridor when I received a text from Dean. Skylar, are you free tomorrow? Let's have dinner together. I was about to text back when I suddenly heard Mom and Laura arguing. What's wrong with you, Laura? Why are you secretly dating that jerk? Why not, Dean? He's a good guy. Besides, he told me that there's nothing going on between him and Skylar. So Dean is two-timing us? He snuck out on a date with Laura while flirting with me on the phone all day? What on earth? I tried to keep calm while continuing to listen. You're crazy. Stop this stupid secret dating game at once. What? Why is Mom insisting he's a good guy to me, but telling Laura the opposite? Well, Mom, which one is it? Is Dean a good match like you told me, or a jerk like you told Laura? He's rich, so keep on dating him and stop bothering me with your nonsense. Ugh, I wasn't born yesterday. There's definitely something wrong with this Dean. The very next day, I decided to go and follow Dean. Oh my gosh! What was he wearing? And why did he go to this slum? Then he gathered with a few other thugs. So, it's obvious, Dean definitely was a street guy. That's why Mom didn't let Laura get close to him. But why did she match him with me? Could that be a part of her plan to bring me down? Ha! Nice try! I'd had enough spying for one day, so I was about to leave. But then suddenly, I heard a familiar voice which startled me. I turned around, then... What? It's... Mom? How dare you ruin the plan! Mind your words. I did as you said. I told you to flirt with Skylar to distract her, not Laura. Don't think I'm paying you a nickel more. Fine, don't pay me. Just be sure to take me a picture of your husband's face when the real DNA result arrives in his inbox. You... Oh my God. Did I just hear it wrong? What DNA results? Could it be? I immediately went home and rushed into my dad's office to look for the DNA certificate that my mom gave him that day. Here it was! What should I do now? That's right, I had to take it to the hospital to have it checked. After pleading and putting pressure on the doctor, he finally admitted that he'd accepted a bribe from Dean to fake the test result. I asked for the original one and, believe it or not, Laura was not my dad's child. I immediately rushed home and showed my dad the original DNA results. He was so shocked, I had to help him sit down, then get him a glass of water. When he got over the initial shock, he asked me to call Laura and Mum in to confront them. But, oh no, Laura's room was empty. Only one letter was lying on the bed. Sorry, everyone. Dean told me the truth. Thank you all for taking care of me. Especially you, Skylar. I honestly enjoyed being around you. I think you're kind and patient. Please don't ever change. I don't belong in your world, so I can't stay. If we're predestined, we will meet again. Thank you, and sorry again. Love, Laura. Unbelievable! How could you lie to all of us about something like this? Knowing she couldn't wriggle out of this one, Mum replied, Okay, Laura isn't yours. I fell pregnant with her after we broke up. I didn't want you to throw me out, so I paid Dean to get a fake DNA certificate. Then I paid him again to date Skylar and distract her from her studies. This business should be Laura's, not hers. But that jerk went and fell for Laura instead. Poor Dad. He looked so heartbroken. Mum tried pleading with him to forgive her, but he told her the trust was broken and that she had to leave. Everything's such a mess. Poor Dad shut himself away in his office, while me, I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. I couldn't stop thinking about all of Mum's lies. And what for? Money? Fame? Status? Are all those things worth sacrificing dignity, honor, and trust for? I used to want to compete with Laura too, but now it turns out that all of that was just fleeting. Dad, I think I should leave too, because I'm not your biological daughter either. I've known for a while, but I've kept quiet as I was afraid that you would abandon me. Thank you for always being there for me. You're a good man, and you don't deserve all the pain you've been through. Then I told my dad all about how I found out I was adopted and how my mom paid my real mom to hand me over. Dad froze for a few seconds, then calmly said, Skylar, honey, you'll always be my daughter, and I couldn't be prouder of you. Please, stay here with me. I couldn't hold back my tears. Did Dad really want me around? Even after all this crazy stuff? I really love my dad, but I couldn't upset him anymore. The next day, Dad and I went around to Laura's adoptive mom's house. I cleared the air with her and invited her to come back with us. She politely declined. Turns out she just wants a simple life. We still meet up sometimes, and we've actually become pretty good friends. Isn't it amazing? Because before that, we were like water and fire. The fact that I don't have to teach her Excel anymore probably helps. There are those who do whatever they can to win fame and fortune, but this often comes at a cost. Mum let greed turn her into a monster, and now she's paying for it. I don't like what she did, but she's still my mum. Well, my adoptive mum anyway. So I still send her subsidies and wish her happiness for the rest of her life. The truth is that I'd rather forego a huge fortune and live a quiet life than become someone I don't want to be. If it were you, would you do the same to live in peace? Emma, your teacher, Mrs. Holm, called again. She said your grades are appalling and you don't pay attention in class. Why can't you be more like your sister? Yawn. Not this speech again. It's been like this ever since I started elementary school. In my mom's eyes, only my sister, Evelyn, inherited our dad's intelligence, while I'm just the senseless member of the family. Ugh, as if. She's only good with useless books. Bet she doesn't know anything practical, like how Dad's Ethernet company works and such. But whatever, I don't care. I'm full, I announced as I got up and went to my little headquarters, the garage. I was busy working on my own personal project, so I didn't have time to give a hoot about who my mom's favorite child is. Oh, you must be wondering what I'm working on. Well, this device broadcasts Wi-Fi. Sounds familiar, right? But my device is able to broadcast across the entire city. Not only that, the connection is stronger and much more stable than the Wi-Fi people use at home. And it's more convenient without all the cables and stuff. This is without a doubt my proudest work ever. And what a coincidence that a few days earlier at school, Mrs. Holm announced that for the first time, the school was organizing an invention contest. Normally, I give school activities a miss, but this time was different. This contest could be fun, right? There was no time to waste, so I put all my spare time, day and night, into making my invention contest ready. And you won't believe what happened. I won first prize! And that's not all. One of the judges, Mr. Johnson, was so interested in my invention that he offered to invest in it. At first, I was kind of scared and hesitated to agree because, I was still in high school. But this was an opportunity of a lifetime, so how could I deny it, right? So after that, Mr. Johnson sorted out a manufacturing company and office space for me downtown. This is cool, but I prefer to work in my garage. It's just more convenient that way, with me still being at school and all. I upgraded my device and launched it to the public. And you know what? It was a huge success. Pretty much everybody in the city got rid of their old, laggy Wi-Fi devices and accessed mine. Then one day, I got a call from the local news channel asking to interview me and my family at home. Oh my god, yes! Oh, there's just one snag. I hadn't told my family about it yet because, I don't know. Maybe I just know there's no way they'd believe me? Like the time I got an A in my physics exam, and my mom instantly asked if I cheated. But, well, whatever. This is much bigger than that. So I quickly ran downstairs to the living room and excitedly told my family that the invention benefiting the town was mine. But Mum and Evelyn burst out laughing. So you're telling me that this Wi-Fi, which is broadcasting across the entire city, is your invention? Yeah, Mum, it's mine. Then Mum and Evelyn laughed even louder. Honey, it's bad enough you're failing at school. Please don't start lying. Ugh, forget about it. Why did I even try? Then, the morning after, when the doorbell rang, my mom opened it and saw a reporter and a cameraman. She couldn't believe her eyes. Mum and Evelyn exchanged panicked looks, then rushed upstairs to prepare. It was so hilarious. The hysterics continued as they interviewed my parents. I watched my nervous, sweaty dad stand there like an awkward statue, while Mom began bragging about me like, as soon as Emma was born, I knew she was a genius like her dad. I always encourage her to pursue her dreams. Jeez, and the Oscar goes to my mom. I didn't know she could act that well. To be honest, since I could remember, Mom never said anything nice about me. Ever. But now that she knew I was the mastermind behind the town's Wi-Fi, she would probably treat me differently, right? Wrong. Then one night I came downstairs for a glass of milk and overheard Mom and Dad talking in the living room. Emma is such a selfish child. How badly will this affect your business? The truth is, the company's going through tough times. But don't worry, we're trying everything we can. Huh? Did I do something? And what's wrong with Dad's company? I tried to eavesdrop more, But suddenly I heard my dad standing up from the couch, so I quickly ran upstairs to my room. The next day, Dad forgot to take his lunch with him to work, so Mom asked me to take it over. But when I got to his company floor, it was deserted. Huh? Where was everybody? Did everybody get a day off or something? But that couldn't be it, right? That evening, over dinner, I asked Dad. I went to your office at midday, but not a single person was there. What's going on? Mom suddenly put her cutlery down and gave Dad a shocked look. Is what Emma just said true? Dad lowered his head and sighed out. Yes, it's true. I temporarily shut the company last week. I didn't want you all to worry, so I didn't tell you. I'm sorry. What? How could you? You said you would fix it. That's when it hit me. But I deeply prayed it wasn't the truth. So I asked him, is it because of my device? Dad didn't answer me. He just glared sadly down at his dinner. But I knew what his silence meant. I was right. Suddenly, Evelyn stood up and screamed in my face. It's all your fault! You invented that stupid device, and now Dad's business is at stake. That's so typical of you. You never think before you act. Then she stomped off upstairs. I just sat there speechless. I just wanted my family to be proud of me, but instead, it seemed like they despised me more than ever. Then Dad turned to me and softly said, Emma, this isn't your fault. I was kind of waiting for my mom to say something, anything at all, but she didn't. She just cleaned up the table. I felt really bad about what happened to Dad. But hey, now I had to work even harder so I could provide for my family, right? After that, Mom completely ghosted me. As for my sister, whenever our paths crossed, she gave me a dagger look and muttered out mean comments like, let's see how long it takes for your precious business to fail. I tried to ignore her, but then she took it too far. One Sunday, I was in my garage working away when suddenly I heard loud noises coming from outside. I opened the garage door to see a crowd of people holding signs saying, we lost our jobs because of you, and no job, no future. My God, they were protesters. I think they were from my dad's office. Wait a minute. I spotted a familiar face. Evelyn? She was holding a big sign saying, my dad lost his job because of you. Eventually, Dad came out and dispersed the crowd. Then he called an emergency family meeting. How could you do that to me? The correct question would be, how could you do that to Dad? Thanks to you, dozens of people have lost their jobs. You're making people's lives miserable.
Enough, both of you. Evelyn, what you did was wrong. Families are supposed to support each other.
But Dad, she...
Didn't you just hear what I said?
Evelyn gave me a dirty look. Then she ran off to her room. I looked at Mom, who was leaning against the wall with her arms folded. Did she agree with what Evelyn did? Or was she on my side? My God, please say something. But to my surprise, after that, my mother started talking to me again, and she was actually being nice. She even started cleaning my room and workspace. Whoa, this was new. Had she finally accepted me? Then one day, I received tons of emails complaining about my Wi-Fi. It took me all day, but I finally found the cause of the problem. My laptop. Somebody had tampered with it. It didn't take a genius to figure out who it was. Evelyn, duh. But I needed proof, so I set up a trap. The next evening, when everybody was having dinner, I ran downstairs, quickly grabbed a piece of bread and said, I need to go run some errands. Oh, and can you please stay out of the garage, as I'm uploading some important files? Mom and Dad nodded and smiled at me. Evelyn, on the other hand, just rolled her eyes and continued eating. Well, at least I knew my plan was in motion. I walked outside and hid behind the bushes. So, what's my plan, you ask? Well, I set up my laptop so that when anyone opened it, it would automatically send a notification to my phone and turn on the camera so I could see who it was. I waited for an hour, but still nothing. Then suddenly, my phone beeped. Somebody was opening my laptop. They hadn't switched the light on yet, so it was too dark to see them, but I was 100% sure who it was. Time to expose. What are you doing sneaking out here? Evelyn? What was she doing out here? Wait, if Evelyn was here, then who was it in the garage? Not answering Evelyn's question, I ran like crazy into the garage to capture this intruder. And as soon as I turned on the lights, I couldn't believe who was messing with my laptop. It was Mom! What on earth was going on? I called a family meeting and told everyone what Mom did. Dad and Evelyn looked shocked and asked Mom why she did it. I just couldn't stand seeing your dad suffer anymore. He put his life into that company, and now he's just a laughing stock. Do you realize our neighbors and relatives have been gossiping about him? They think it's so pitiful that he lost out to his own daughter. So I did what any self-respecting wife would do. Was she serious? Why didn't she just talk to me? All I ever wanted was for her to talk to me. Nothing else. But no, she decided to go behind my back and try to sabotage my business instead. After her betrayal, I'd had enough. So I didn't speak to her and avoided her as much as possible. It was one thing for Mom to be cold towards me, but I never thought she was capable of doing this. This went on for weeks, and it got kinda tedious. Trust me, it's no fun trying to avoid someone in your own home. But then one day, I arrived back from school and saw Dad sitting in a corner in the living room, repairing his PC. Geez, he looked so miserable. That's when the truth hit me. This was his passion, and I took it away from him. Suddenly, I understood why Mom did what she did. She saw how disheartened he was, but knew he'd never say anything to me, because he's always supportive. But how can I fix everything? Should I give everything up so that my dad can reopen his company again? Ugh, why was this so hard to figure out? Wait a minute. I think I have the solution. You must be wondering what my dad was doing here. Well, I came up with the idea that we should work together. My dad's a pro with technology, so it didn't take long to show him how things work around here. Oh, and since my business has grown, we were able to employ some of his former work employees too. With Dad around to help, I have time to focus on my studies. Even Evelyn started helping out, and she was so good at it, I made her dad's assistant. Talk about a proper family business. Ha! As for Mom, we had a really long talk. I finally told her how awful her attitude towards me made me feel, and she apologized for everything she had done. I eventually forgave her. I knew she did that just because she loves Dad very much. So, after all that drama, we're now just one big happy family. Susan, hurry up or we'll be late to see the House of Gucci. Hang on, where was Susan? I looked around to see my friend standing on the spot. Lola, isn't that your car? I looked in the direction Susan was pointing and saw my beloved car resting on the back of a tow truck. Great! Our only mode of transport was being impounded for illegal parking. So much for a movie trip. Well, let's call it a day. My line of thought just ended when, oops, something fell on my shirt. Ah! Those stupid birds! Unbelievable! This was my brand new tee, and now it was covered in bird droppings. Oh yeah, welcome to a normal day in the life of Lola the Jinx. Yes, I've been called that since I was a little kid. All of my relatives, except for my parents, have always been extra wary of me. Then, when I was 12, during a boring family gathering, I overheard a heated conversation between my uncle and my parents.
Stop living in denial. That girl's bad luck. Send her off to boarding school. Anywhere, as long as she's away from this family. You're being ridiculous. It's my daughter you're talking about. The fact that you lost your job has nothing to do with her. She's just a kid.
That's right. This isn't Lola's fault. You need to stop blaming her for everything because of some silly words. It turned out that the silly words in question were told by a prophetess on the day of my birth. So, my family owned a famous furniture manufacturing business in the area. But unfortunately, on the day I was born, there was a fire in the workshop and they lost everything. On that same day, a prophetess passed by my house and dropped a sentence that made everyone in the family panic.
That newborn is a jinx who will bring misfortune to the entire family.
So that's why relatives ignore me, don't invite me to parties, and whisper about me behind my back. I don't want to believe the prophecy, but with all the bad luck I've had so far, it's hard not to. Have you ever carried an umbrella around with you for 6 days straight, only for it to be sunny? Then the one day you forget to bring it, it pours down? Or have you ever been able to lick a delicious-looking ice cream when you tripped and splashed the whole ice cream on the poor person standing opposite you? Well, not only was I unlucky in my own right, but my ill fortune also affected the people around me. It's no wonder I'm a shy girl who struggles to make friends. Besides my parents, I only have one friend, Susan.
Hey Lola, have you ever thought about breaking your bad luck? There's a very famous fortune teller in town.
Breaking bad luck? Well, that sounds like a good idea. I've had enough of being Lola the Jinx. The next day, following Susan's instructions, I went to a small house on the outskirts of town. As I knocked on the door, I was nervous and excited. I hoped this would finally be the end to my run of bad luck. A woman in veil let me in. I couldn't wait any longer, so I blurted out, "Hi, I'm here since I heard you could help me get rid of my bad luck, right? Please help, whatever it takes." The fortune teller sat still for a moment, then a smile lit up through her veil.
You're Lola, daughter of the Gonzalez family, right?
I was stunned. Whoa, she was good at her job. I mean, I hadn't even introduced myself yet.
Of course, I already knew that you'd come here, but it would be difficult for me to eliminate your misfortune. There's only one person in the world who can undo your jinx. They will bear all the bad luck for you, and even bring you good luck at the same time.
Is that so? But who could that be in this whole wide world? I blurted out. The fortune teller smiled and said that if I wanted further clues, that would cost me a few more bucks. Oh well, I've already come this far, so it's worth spending the rest of my monthly allowance to know who my mystery savior was, right? Then she pulled out this drawstring bag and shook it. She told me to draw an item. Oh, it was a small tile with a single letter on it. A.
Well, well, well. Interesting. A person whose name starts with an A. Fear not, Lola. The universe will signal you to find that very person.
I then went home and couldn't stop searching my mind for people I know with A names. Let's see. The most potential person was Ariel, a classmate of mine who was super lucky in everything. That's right, no one else but her. She was born wealthy and fortunate. She didn't even study and she always got good grades. Actually, she just won the school raffle. Her prize was a year's supply of donuts and a bowling trip. Obviously, she was the complete opposite of me. With her inherent luck, surely a little bit of my jinx seasoning wouldn't make her too miserable, right? But honestly, I'm not fond of Ariel. She's sour, scornful, and a show-off. Still, dear Lola, anything was possible if you wanted to end your bad luck. So I was determined that from tomorrow, I would make her my best friend. Together we would have the perfect balance between bad luck and good fortune. But easier said than done. Being friends with Ariel meant I had to continuously compliment her on everything. Her new shoes, high grades, choice of lipstick color. Ugh. She also made me go and queue up to get her lunch. Someone like me struggled to carry my own lunch without tripping, let alone two. But the weird thing was, I didn't fall over. Actually, ever since I started hanging out with Ariel, I couldn't recall anything bad happening. With my newfound luck, I started opening up to some of my other classmates. And you won't believe it, an unlucky girl like me even won 2 tickets to the opening of a new water park. so I decided to share one with Ariel. To be fair, it was her luck that got me those tickets, right? But, uh-oh. Hang on. Was that Ariel tottering out of the changing rooms in her stiletto heels? What an idiot! And right after that, just as you might have guessed, she slipped over. But to my horror, she also frantically grabbed onto my arm to take me down with her. But wait, why didn't I feel any pain? Oh, was I dreaming? Did this handsome guy just save me? As for Princess Ariel, she broke a tiny fingernail, so she just stormed off sulking. Never mind, as I had a new companion, my super cute hero, Anthony. Since then, Anthony and I talk to each other every day, and just like that, we officially became a couple. Honestly, who would have imagined that Lola the Jinx would one day have a very wonderful boyfriend like Anthony? Maybe my luck had finally changed. Yay! So the prophecy was fulfilled. Ariel was the one who brought me luck. But actually, thinking about it, Ariel didn't seem to be having any bad luck at all in the meantime. Well, apart from the fingernail incident, but in that instance, she was lucky she didn't sprain her ankle or anything. Perhaps we were all riding on the good luck train, for once. But there's still one thing I can't understand. Honey, why were you so late today?
Sorry, babe. On the way here, I got a flat tire. Twice.
Yeah, you see, my boyfriend sure had been having a lot of bad luck lately. But wait, Anthony also has a name that began with the letter A. Could it be that it was Anthony who bore my bad luck? Not Ariel? Oh no, this couldn't be happening. Then, over the next few weeks, my suspicions were confirmed. Anthony lost his phone. He misplaced his assignment, picked up the wrong dog from the vet's, and even managed to walk into his mom's brand new, expensive vase. Smash! I could continue to be a jinx, but I didn't want any of my loved ones to endure this fatigue for me. Instead, I needed to find a way to help Anthony get out of this for good. Maybe he could befriend someone super lucky. Then this would reverse his bad luck. With this plan in mind, I planned a picnic for us both, then invited the luckiest person I knew along too, Ariel. At first, it seemed to be going really well. It wasn't raining, and there weren't ants in our sandwiches. But then I noticed Ariel giggle and twizzle with her hair as she looked at Anthony. Oh no, Ariel had a crush on my boyfriend. The problem was, the more I saw them together, happy and bad luck free, the more I concluded that Anthony was better off without me. So I started ignoring his calls and messages and purposely avoided the places I knew he would be. All was going well, until he showed up outside my school. Ugh!
Lola, why are you ignoring me? What did I do wrong?
I pretended not to hear anything and kept walking, but he ran after and caught me by my wrist. So I yelled at him, "Nothing! You're perfect! That's why I stopped talking to you. I'm a jinx, and you deserve better." He gave me a confused look, so I explained all about how bad luck had a way of following me and the people I was closest to, and that's why I had set up a date for him and Ariel.
You're such a fool. Are you seriously ready to throw away what we have because of some stupid prophecy? Plus, I'm not an object for you to just give away to whoever you want.
Then he stormed off. This was awful. Now I'd gone and lost my amazing, sweet, caring boyfriend, and I only had myself to blame. Later that night, Mom walked into the living room and saw me slumped on the couch crying. She asked me what was wrong, and I blubbered out all about my bad luck, the fortune teller, and how I lost my boyfriend because of it. I think it's time I visited this fortune teller. It might be the prophetess from the day you were born. I didn't see her back then as I was in the hospital with you. If it really is her, I'm longing to know why she decided to put so much stress on our family with her ludicrous words. The next day, Mom and I went to the fortune teller's place. Mom yanked the veil off her face and stared at her in shock. Turns out they went to school together. And back then, This woman was jealous of my mom's luck, a jealousy she never got past. So she tried to sabotage her by telling those ridiculous prophecies to not only me, but the rest of our family. Thinking about it, throughout my childhood, my relatives treated me like a bad luck charm. So that's how I acted. I alienated myself, acted insecure, and had no confidence. Maybe it was my negative energy that was making me unlucky, not some dumb prophecy. So what happened next? Well, Mom made sure the whole town found out about what a fraud the fortune teller is. She wrote a public apology to us and paid us compensation. As for me, I decided it was time to make my own luck. So I went round to Anthony's and handed him 2 tickets for the water park. And I apologized for all my superstitious nonsense. He seemed to appreciate the gesture, and he forgave me. So we're back together. Yay! From now on, it's only positive vibes, happy thoughts, and grasping life's opportunities. The most important thing I've learned is that if you see life as beautiful, it'll always be beautiful to you in return.
Being the awesome class president that I am means that it's my job to show this new transfer student, Willow, what's what around here. So, obviously this is the canteen. Heads up, don't eat the stew. Yuck. If you have any trouble finding something, just ask me. Well, I haven't seen you since middle school. What's up? Just still the same. Okay. Oh, you must be confused, but actually I already know Willow. You see, we went to the same middle school together, but to be honest, we never really talked to each other back then. She seems to still be as quiet as always. Oh, and by the way, I'm Natalie, but you can call me Nat. The next few days, I saw Willow always sitting in a corner of the classroom and doodling. She looked kinda lonely, so being a nice person, I decided to sit and talk to her. Hey, Willow, nice shirt. She just gave me this weak smile, then continued doodling. Ugh, talk about awkward. The best thing I could do was just to stupidly smile back, then swiftly left. I didn't really bother with Willow after that. I mean, I said hi if we passed in the hallway or something, but that was it. But it turns out Willow's introverted tendencies hadn't gone unnoticed by other students, as when we were on our school expedition to the woods, I overheard them talking about her. Do you all think that Willow seems a bit weird? Yeah, you're totally right. One time I asked to borrow her eraser, and she just gave it to me without saying anything. She didn't even look me in the eye, just kept on drawing. It was so strange. Huh? Are they seriously gossiping about a new kid? Yeah, so she might not be too sociable, but people should just learn how to respect someone's personal differences, right? Hey, Willow is new here. I don't think it's very nice of you to gossip like this. Also, she's my friend from middle school, so please stop this. But just wondering, has she always been like this? Yeah, I guess. Actually, I was quite surprised to see her in our class. In middle school, her grades weren't that good, so it's kind of odd that she's in the top set with us. I could see the whole group was looking at me with surprised eyes. But hey, that was a few years ago now, so maybe she's changed. I quickly corrected myself. Then, a few days later, I was standing by my locker when suddenly my best friend Layla appeared and gripped my shoulders. Oh my God, have you heard the news? Everybody is saying Willow only got into top set because her parents made a huge donation to the school. Can you believe that? What? Who's spreading this absurd rumor? I don't know, but someone's saying that she wasn't that smart in middle school. Oh my God. Was the rumor culprit me? It was me. I did it at the expedition. Oh no, I didn't mean to. Oh, how could I let this happen? Then when I entered class, I noticed a sobbing Willow being comforted by some other students. I felt horrible, so I also went over to her and tried to cheer her up. Don't worry about it, Willow. Everyone knows this rumor is a lie. Why would anyone do such a thing? I mean, I just transferred here. Who would hate me so much to say something so mean? Oh man, I sure felt guilty. Oh, could things get any worse? Yeah, turns out they can. As after class, Miss Holmes suddenly asked me and Willow to stay behind. Oh no. Did she know I was the one who started the Willow rumor? I sat there sweating like a turkey at Thanksgiving, waiting for Miss Holmes to bust me. But then to my surprise, she said, Nat, please, can you help me get to the bottom of this horrible rumor? Phew, what a relief. but at the same time, I was freaking out. How was I supposed to catch the person responsible when I was the one who started the rumor? Albeit accidentally. Ugh, what a dilemma. Wait a minute. I think I have an idea. What about I blame it on a troublemaker? It's not like they would care anyway. Whilst I'm a straight A student, and getting into trouble for this could affect my chances to get into a prestigious college and ruin my life. Right at that moment, this guy called Bob shoved past us, then leaned against the wall and scrolled through his phone. Bingo. Gotcha. I put one hand against the wall and gave him a suspicious look. Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Fine.
So, about this Willow rumor? Who did you hear it from? Bob just shrugged and continued staring at his phone. Or did you do it? Maybe you were bored. So you spread the rumor to tease the new girl. Am I right? Or what? Only by then, Bob looked at me.
What? Are you crazy? I don't know this Willow girl. Besides, I was off all last week sick. Now leave me alone.
Oh man, this was a massive fail. Now what should I do? I needed a minute to think. Okay, don't panic, Nat. You're smart, so you'll think of something. That's when I turned and caught a glimpse of Willow's sad face. Don't worry, I will find out who did it, I comforted her. But inside I was screaming. I hated lying to her, but this was an accident. I never meant to spread that rumor. At that moment, Layla appeared and said she wanted to help. Great! Like this quest wasn't complicated enough. Ugh. Layla told us that she heard the rumor from this nerd Ben. So we all tracked him down and asked him. But he heard it from some other dude, and it went on until a girl said that she heard it from Ashley. That's when I remembered that Ashley was on the talking group in the expedition. Oh no. I had to stop this encounter between us. So when they spotted Ashley, I started making weird noises and made out I had a stomachache. They were still going to her, so I had to scream loudly like I was in labor. In the medical room, I continued screaming as if I was in a lot of pain. The nurses diagnosed that it might be appendix pain, so I immediately needed to be transferred to the hospital. I instantly stopped screaming as soon as I heard that and said, it's just that time of the month. Phew, that was close. But at least I've successfully stopped them from investigating Ashley. Well, I spoke too soon, because right that second, Ashley walked into the medical room, but thank God she didn't mention me. Instead, she said Carl told her about it. Phew. To my luck, Carl was absent today, so the manhunt had to end here. It would unfortunately continue tomorrow, though. As we warily walked out of school, I glanced over at Willow and saw that she looked really down. Ugh, that made me feel so bad. So to make it up for her, I asked her if she wanted to grab a sandwich. My treat, of course. And she said yes. That sandwich was so good. And Willow seemed to enjoy hers too. It was great to see her happier, so I decided to extend our trip by going to the mall. Willow kept on glancing at this dress, but it was out of her price range, so being the awesome friend that I am, I bought it for her as a gift. Well, that's the least I can do after everything I'd done to her, right? But then I noticed something weird. When I was standing at the counter to pay for it, I turned around and saw her smirking. Then when she saw me looking at her, she immediately smiled and thanked me for the dress. Huh, so strange. The next day, the rumor scavenger hunt continued. Ugh. We cornered Carl and questioned him, but he couldn't remember where he heard it from. Layla asked him to think carefully, and he just shrugged and said he had no idea. Layla got suspicious, so she immediately reported him to the principal's office. I didn't even have a chance to stop her. The next thing I knew, we were being called out over the loudspeaker and summoned to go to the principal's office. Then Carl confessed that yesterday he got an anonymous message via Facebook saying that they were willing to pay him if he agreed not to tell the name of the person who told him the rumor. He showed us his phone, but all the messages and the user account didn't exist anymore. That's right. I was the anonymous user who contacted Carl yesterday. Thank God I deleted the messages and the account on time. But things weren't that simple. The principal decided to suspend Carl for withholding information. Finally! My plan worked! But why wasn't I feeling happy about it? On the contrary, I felt bad. Really, really bad. Blaming someone for my mistake wasn't right. I couldn't do that to Carl. So I stood up and blurted out, "It was me all along. I started the rumor, but it was an accident." Well, and that's it. Cue a 2-week suspension. Now Willow is refusing to hear my apology, and everyone else thinks I'm some villain. Only Layla has stuck by my side and remained adamant there was more to the story. Then, a few days later, when I was trying to curb my boredom with potato chips and a Love is Blind marathon, Layla came by and told me the shocking news. There may be a chance that I wasn't the person who spread the rumor about Willow. The thing is, Layla continued asking around school and ended up with a girl named Rosa, who had a reputation for gossiping. Rosa told Layla that she was in the bathroom when suddenly a girl in the cabin next to her started telling her about the rumor. Rosa found it odd, so she bent down to see who it was, but the only thing she could see was a pair of pink Nike Air Force One. Then Layla asked me, "You know who always wears those, right?" I nodded. "But objectively, there could be other girls who own the same shoes, correct?" Fortunately, Rosa also noticed an important detail that will help us close the case. The right shoe has a tear mark. I checked our suspects' shoes, and they match. So we finally knew who really did it. We just needed a plan to trap them. The next day, we called Willow to meet us at a cafe and told her that we found the real culprit. But when Willow arrived, she immediately got mad and yelled at me. "Stop blaming it on somebody else. Maybe the person heard you when you were speaking about me during the expedition trip." As soon as Willow said that, Layla and I immediately looked at each other and grinned. "What's so funny?" "I never told you that I spread the rumor at the expedition. I didn't even tell the principal. I only confessed that I was the one who said it. That's all." Willow looked shocked. Then we told her about Rosa and how she saw Willow's shoes, so Willow couldn't deny it anymore. "Okay, it was me. I've never liked you, and you think you're so perfect. So at the expedition, when I overheard you talking about me like that, it made me so mad that I came up with the idea to spread the rumor about myself and then blame it on you. So you'd look like a horrible person and I'd get people's sympathy. A genius plan, right?" Oh my. Who would have thought that the victim herself was actually the one who did the crime? Layla got so mad that she immediately wanted to report Willow to the principal, but I stopped her. I realized that it was partly my fault too. If I hadn't told people anything about Willow, then this never would have happened. So, well, after that, Willow and I stopped talking to each other. Actually, if I see her in the hallway, I'll purposefully walk the other way. But anyway, thanks to this incident, I learned some valuable lessons. Never, ever gossip, as it's just not worth it. And also, choose your friends wisely.
Hey, I'm Sage, but you can call me Witch. That's what all the townspeople call me anyway. My folks run a funeral home called Black Rose, and some superstitious people consider this a bad omen. By some, I mean the entire town. Everything about us is spooky and weird. Want to see our house? It kinda has that monster house vibe and looks like a fort in the middle of this dollhouse neighborhood. I did try making friends with the other kids, but it never worked out.
Ah! Don't eat the cookies! They're poisoned!
Despite all that, Mom and Dad found their work meaningful and put a lot of effort into it. Well, maybe a little too much? I guess the reason why they're so emotional is because they know what it feels like to lose someone dear to them. My little sister Leah's missing, and it's all my fault. We'd searched for her everywhere for 5 years, but still, no news. It was a terrible time for my family, but instead of showing us support, the neighbors spread absurd rumors about Leah's disappearance. Some said the devil took her, while others said we sacrificed her during a satanic ritual. These heartless people were never going to change their minds about us, so I decided to just go along with it. This is why no one dares to bother me, as they don't want to be cursed. Ouch!
Oh, sorry, miss. We're just trying to catch that bird. Please don't curse us.
Jesus, that poor little thing. If you hurt an innocent creature again, I'll turn you into one and see how you like having stones shot at you. Blood drained immediately from their faces as they screamed and bolted. I carefully took the bird out of the bush, then brought it to my forest house. This is my secret hideout deep in the forest. I have my own garden where I plant herbs to heal injured animals. This isn't a wild bird. It even has a name. Must be someone's pet. Okay, Sky, so you like to sneak out, huh? The world out there is dangerous. I should bring you home. I followed the address on Sky's tag and took her there. Guess her owner wouldn't be happy if they thought a witch had cursed her, so it's better not to show myself. No one wants anything to do with a witch. But no matter how annoyed or scared they acted, I just don't care. Having the place to myself has its perks. But then out of the blue, a guy slumped on the chair opposite me. How dare he? I could feel his eyes peeking at me. Another idiot wanting to test his courage.
Hey, Sage, right? We're in the same English literature class. But in case you didn't know, I'm Mark.
Why should I know your name?
Oh, I just wanted to...
If you don't want to get diarrhea, sleep paralysis, or skin rashes, don't ever talk to me. Then I turned around to leave, but tripped over something and fell forward.
You alright?
This is crazy. Who asked him to do that? Then I came home to find an angry crowd in front of my house. Those eerie sounds are keeping us awake at night. What kind of dark magic are you practicing? Your black sorcery made my curling iron overheat and burn my hair. Must be some demonic influence messing around here. Turns out, strange things were happening to every house in the neighborhood. So these superstitious people blamed everything on my family and even wanted to kick us out.
We can't move. We have to wait here. For Leah.
She's with the devil now. She's obviously not coming back, so go away. Never talk about my sister like that again. Get out of here. Coincidentally, there was a loud rumble of thunder right at that moment. Horrified, they started pointing and calling me a witch.
Go home, everyone, for your own safety. I'll take it from here.
This man is Mr. Thompson, the town's mayor. He came with an offer to help our family move away in peace.
Believe me, it's best for everyone. If and when your daughter comes back, you'll be informed right away.
After he left, my parents seemed to be thinking about moving away for real. What's gotten into them? We didn't do anything wrong. Why do we have to leave? I'm not going anywhere. My parents might be weak, but I'm not. I'll wait for my sister here. She promised me she'd help me care for those poor creatures. She will be back.
Achoo!
What was that? It sounds like a guy's sneeze? Who's there? Show yourself. You idiot. Come out alone. Both of you. Now. Those two look familiar. Right, they're Meg and Nick, the infamous best friend duo in my school. It turns out they were curious about the strange phenomena happening at Meg's house too. They wanted to see if I was really using witchcraft to cause all that. We didn't expect to see you healing animals here.
Why do you let people think you're a witch?
They can call me a witch, an alien, or whatever. I don't care, as long as they leave me be. I hate it when people annoy me, which is what you two are doing now. Quit following me and never come here again. But they didn't leave. Instead, Meg told me about a black rose that always appeared at the scene. Of course, it reminds the townsfolk of my family. Nick thought that made no sense. I mean, if it really was us, why would we make it that obvious? Someone's clearly trying to frame us. That's it. If I found that person, my family could live here in peace again. We'll investigate together. We can catch the bad guy and be heroes, like a detective squad. Sounds like you've been watching too much Scooby-Doo. And why aren't you guys scared of me? Actually, I'd make a great Daphne. And come on, we just saw you feeding the cats. Even if you are a witch, then you must be a kind one. The next day, I was going downstairs when I heard some chattering noise. Are those angry townsfolk back? I was about to scare them away, but I saw my parents warmly welcoming Meg and Nick? This is the first time I'd had friends come over, so my parents were overreacting. I hurriedly pulled my so-called friends out of the house. I guess disturbing me has become a habit to you, huh? We didn't know how else to contact you.
Anyway, we'd like to introduce you to an IT expert. He's agreed to help us.
Then suddenly, a guy standing behind the black rose bush appeared and said hi to me. Isn't that the guy from the library?
This is Mark, the newest member of our squad.
Good to see you again. I hope you'll remember my name this time. So, this Mark guy was really serious about this. He's now telling Nick how he could get data from all of the cameras in the neighborhood, which sounded like some kind of alien language to me. Look, our tech genius found something. Mark is awesome, right, Sage?
I guess? Someone hacked into these houses' networks and was causing their electrical appliances to go haywire. And every night at 11 o'clock sharp, the camera would be disconnected. Not for long, just enough for someone to place a black rose at the scene unnoticed. Can you track down that hacker's IP address? Yes, and also their coordinates.
That's Clara's house? Wait, Clara? The drama queen who always plays up everything about me? Does she hate me that much to target my whole family? We reached out to Clara to talk privately, but she flat out denied everything. What is wrong with you? Did this witch hypnotize you into becoming her slave? Blink twice if you need help.
We have proof. You can't get away with this.
Are you threatening me? This is illegal. I will tell my father about this. You think you're a big deal just because your father is the mayor? Big enough for you to watch out? She's the mayor's daughter? What's with that smug attitude? Everyone in this school remembers how she embarrassed herself last year after Mark rejected her. You may not know this, but Mark is the most popular guy among the girls in our school.
It doesn't matter. I'm not interested in those girls.
You don't have to explain yourself to me. I don't even care. The atmosphere suddenly became weirdly awkward.
Well, now the only way is to stalk Clara and catch her red-handed.
but we've been sitting here for an hour and nothing's happened. This snooping scheme is so silly. I was about to leave when Mark stopped me. Someone was coming out of Clara's house. Gotcha. Still trying to deny it now, Clara? Mark took off his mask, but who's this man? He suddenly flung out, then attacked Mark and ran off. We were about to chase him when Mark cried out in pain. Meg and Nick told me to take Mark home while they chased after the guy. I brought him home. This house looks so familiar. Oh, this was the owner's house of Sky, the bird I'd saved. Mark explained he'd seen me bring Sky back and was impressed with the note I'd left on how to take care of its wound. I knew everyone had been wrong about you, so I wanted to thank you and be your friend. I'm not someone who could make friends. Then I quickly left. The next day, Mark helped us arrange a meeting with Clara at the cafe where he worked. When Clara heard about the man coming out of her house last night, she seemed shaken and said he was probably one of her dad's staff. However, when Meg asked her for her help, Clara refused. We hit a dead end again, but Mark said he already had a solution. Before he could tell us, the cafe owner appeared and told me that spooky stuff was happening and asked me to leave. The holy statue, the town's symbol, was broken, and they found another black rose at the scene. Meg and Nick immediately jumped to my defense, but he didn't listen. He also forbade Mark from hanging out with me, or else he'd fire him. I'll leave now. See? I'm not good at making friends. I only bring them trouble. I dashed away so no one could see me cry. However, suddenly, someone's hand grabbed mine, then pulled me onto the bus just as it arrived at its stop. Mark? What are you doing? He'll fire you! I quit. That kind of boss doesn't get to fire me. It's all my fault. Don't worry. I have a ton of different jobs. Waiter, dog walker, even babysitter. Anything that makes money. What's the money for? This bus will take you to the answer. We got off at the last stop, an orphanage. So Mark was donating the money he earned to these orphans. Promise me you'll show them your true kind side. At first, I wasn't sure if I could, but then I gradually opened up to these sweet kids. Suddenly, I saw a familiar figure watching other children having fun from afar. Is that Leah? My sister? Turns out, 5 years ago, a lost kid was found wandering by the bus stop. She was so scared that she couldn't remember anything about her family. She only said a few separate words like funeral or dead people, so the nuns thought her parents had passed away and took her in. During her time here, she couldn't blend in with other kids. Seeing how Leah pushes others away, I saw myself in her. She shouldn't live her life the same way I do. I then called my parents and they came to pick us up right away. Oh boy, it surely was the tearful reunion of the century. Thank you so much. We only found Leah thanks to you. I'm glad to help, but that's not all. I've got something else to show you. As it turned out, Mark bugged Clara's phone at the cafe. It recorded a call she had with her father, exposing him as the culprit behind the town's mishaps. It appears Mr. Mayor wanted to build a shopping mall, but he needed to clear up some space for it. Using my family's bad rap, he played spooky tricks on the townspeople to scare them into selling their homes for cheap. When Clara found out the truth, she begged her father to stop, but he refused to. Meg and Nick posted the recording on the internet, causing outrage among our town. The cops arrested him, and my family's name was cleared. All our neighbors apologized to my family for letting their superstitions blindside them. My parents were obviously touched, so they forgave them all, and threw a party. So my family was reunited. Not only did I find my sister, but also 3 good friends. Well, maybe 2 good friends, and 1 more than just a friend. Hi, it's your girl Meline again. Let's get on with Scarlett's life story, which was left on a cliffhanging slap. Watch your tongue. Regardless, we won't be working together. That's final. Tell me, are you scared people will figure out that I'm your daughter? Right, you never even came to see my frail, bedridden father. I never needed a mother like you anyway. Then a smack landed on Scarlett's face. She held her left cheek, eyes wide open, and glared at the person standing in front of her with great fury. Scarlett immediately began venting to Naomi as soon as she got home. No way, this is bad. Without a management company, it's really hard to maintain your popularity. I could not care any less. But obviously, Scarlett cared a lot. I've put so much effort into this, and now it's all going down the drain? Meanwhile, Naomi was more relieved than sorry. What now? I won't tell you what you want to hear. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and you're too young to have enough willpower for it. That describes my sister, don't you think? What's wrong? Talk to me. I can't take this anymore. She is vicious. She doesn't give a flying crap that I beat myself up trying and orders me around like a puppet. This is draining me day by day. I'm exhausted. When the video ended, Athena stayed quiet for a bit, then asked Naomi to leave. What about me? I'll think about it. So Naomi returned home and awaited Athena's call, but days had gone by and not a single word from her mother, not even when Scarlett got kicked out. After that fierce fight, Scarlett had to move into this shabby motel. Sheesh, where did she go? She might be mad at me, but she can't lash out like this. This woman has the audacity to call me after all that? Ugh, who needs Athena and her company? I can do this myself. Yahtzee! There's still one event I got invited to. That's my chance! Of course, she asked Naomi to help and be her +1, who happily agreed. But without the usual professional team, it took the girls too long to get ready, so they missed the red carpet ceremony of the fashion show. Luckily, Scarlett could still start networking at the after-party. However, her social battery was draining fast, since she didn't know anyone here. Her eyes were darting around nervously, while Naomi ran about with a little kid's excitement. That body of yours is absurd, and even more mind-blowing up close. Have a drink with me, would you? No thanks. My date is getting my drink. Sorry. What? You think you ate? And nobody like you is lucky to even have my attention. Excuse me, is this guy bothering you? No, actually, yes. What took you so long, baby? Sorry, babe, there was a long line. Phew. Their charade works like a charm, and because of that, our shy girl got to know this gentleman. He's Finn, an art director / princess maker at Creative Artists Agency. Going independent is really tough, especially for newcomers. If you work with us, you'll have more options to your liking. I mean, it's your personal brand. For real, though? Ahem. Finn, this is my sister Naomi. Say hi, Naomi. Nice to meet you two. From that day on, Scarlett had been under Finn's management. He's so gentle and such a smooth talker, but when it comes to work, Finn can be pretty harsh. No, this whole fit makes you 5 feet tall, and that top's from last year's collection. Try to keep up. But how? I literally have to dive into multiple piles just to find something that isn't a size 0. You might think a personal stylist could make this easier, but your audience can sense that it's not authentically you, and it'll just be much harder for you to build rapport. I can see you have quite a personality. You just don't know how to show it through your style yet. All right, that's actually really profound. I never thought about this stuff that way. Stuff? So, what got you into this? That prompted Scarlett to tell him everything. Surprisingly, that guy seemed like a good listener. That is some story. Still, you managed to build a following mostly thanks to your genuine charm. I believe I can teach you more about this stuff and make you fall in love. With real fashion, I mean. And here I thought he was gonna judge me. Ever since she had a handsome, patient trainer guiding her every step, Scarlett gradually gained more respect and interest for what she was doing. Their relationship eventually became more intimate and went beyond the professional boundary. It looked like they knew each other in their past lives. Here, one tasty reward for you. Yes! Oh, hang on. I'm on a diet. Consider today your cheat day. Something to keep you motivated. Come on, an ice cream won't put you in a food coma. You're right. Oh, sorry. You're such a klutz. It was smooth sailing for Scarlett. One day out of the blue, a mukbanger appeared on her For You page. And that's Naomi. How long has this been going on? Why didn't you tell me? Who are you working with? None of your business. Excuse me? I didn't say anything. I was gonna say, eating a humongous amount of food like that can be bad. Maybe you're against this because you're afraid I'll take all your spotlight. Ain't that right? No use talking to her right now. Perhaps I can ask Finn for advice. To her utmost surprise, Scarlett saw that Naomi was with Finn. In the long run, you'll either develop a terrible eating habit, or worse, an eating disorder. This is your one and only body. Take good care of it. Everything's going as planned. Don't worry. I won't get fat no matter how much I eat. Stay calm, Scarlett. Don't barge in and interrogate them. No! Finn, I can't believe you brought Naomi down that road. I asked him to. Interfere again and we're no longer sisters. Those traitors thought they're so smooth. Fine, let the Cold War begin. On the other hand, Finn tried to make amends, but to no avail. I didn't have the chance to explain myself. Scarlett's emotional state took a nosedive, while Naomi's mukbang channel blew up. Needless to say, she was absolutely delighted. See, I am on Scarlett's level. I already got millions of hearts and a dedicated fan base. Little did Naomi know, praise is often followed by criticism and haters. Look at this pufferfish's face. I don't think it's because she's stuffing her face constantly. Girl just got played by genetics. Girls, be nice. Why are you defending that ugly glutton? That's my sister. Problem much? I can't sit still and let her do this to herself. But who could possibly get to her? Definitely not me. In the evening, Scarlett saw that she had hundreds of missed calls, all from Athena. What does she want now? We already went our separate ways. However, that prompted Athena to come see her at her place. Please don't make a scene. I'm here to talk. You are making a scene showing up here. What do you want? It's about Naomi. I am worried about her. That finally convinced Scarlett to have a talk with Athena, which led them to an unexpectedly long discussion about their family. I'm not asking for your sympathy, but you should know how we cut ties. Your dad and I are polar opposites. I wanted the hustle and bustle in life, but your dad wanted a peaceful life in the country. I did try to raise a family with him back there. God knows I tried. But that ain't me. So, when I left, your dad was so angry he banned me from ever returning. Don't you dare bring that face here one more time! Leave us alone! Since then, I could only watch you two from afar. If it makes you feel any better, he took care of us very well. He's a family man, always has been, and Naomi, I soon realized that she's my spitting image. Impulsive, chipper, yet naive. I didn't want her to be in show business, especially this young, or else she'd make the same mistake I did. That's why you were my pick. I never intended for us to fall out. I truly wanted a wealthy life for you, and I thought I could train you into a star like I did every other girl. So when I heard you say how exhausted and trapped you felt living with me, I decided to end it as well as your suffering. What? When did I tell you that? Actually, Naomi told me. You're not supposed to know this. Oh, turns out her action that day was triggered by Naomi. Did my sister do that because she was looking out for me and simply thought I wouldn't tell Mom myself? Or was there any hidden motive? I'll have to find out myself. If we didn't have this heart-to-heart today, our feud might go on forever. Come to think of it, her iciness could have been the product of the cold, harsh show business. Their mother-daughter talk went on till dawn. Scarlett also told her that she hated this job at first, but slowly warmed up to it, and now wanted to commit to it, which made Athena really happy. At the same time, Naomi's videos gained more viewership as well as so many hate comments she couldn't ignore. Anyone reading such remarks about themselves would more or less be upset. Sensitive Naomi got a panic attack. Right at that moment, Scarlett stepped into her room, realized what was happening, and hurried over to catch Naomi. Then she put her in a fetal position. A few minutes later, Naomi calmed down. Feeling any better? Yes, I can breathe normally now. Thank you. Then stop your monkey business this instant! I talked to Mum. She said you're not ready to be an influencer, and I agree with her. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Mom doesn't know me. She didn't raise me or help me become famous, and now she's getting you on her side to go against me? I thought the same, until we spoke. We misunderstood her, Naomi. And you, still worried about me stealing your thunder? We'll see who's more famous and rich. I've had enough of you. Naomi's reaction was so scary. Scarlett couldn't believe this person was her sister. When Naomi stormed off, she didn't have the strength to go after her either. Was I too much? No, absolutely not. She deserved it for what she did. Scarlett can never understand what it's always like to feel inferior, less important, or constantly trying to escape her shadow. As Scarlett was having a migraine because of her sister, she suddenly received Finn's message, which was asking to see her that evening. He told her to come to this cafe. Although Scarlett was still mad at Finn, she wanted to hear him out, seeing how urgent his texts were. It's Naomi. She's resorting to problematic measures to avoid weight gain. Her staff said that she always tries to purge in the bathroom after shooting each video, so I kept an eye on her, and also saw her starving herself for days before going on camera, or drinking slimming tea. I got worried but can't do much about it cause, well, I'm not her manager anymore. I saw her this afternoon, but she won't listen to me now. Have you tried talking to her? I haven't been able to get a hold of her since this morning. Ugh! Scarlett, I'm so sorry. I wanted to help Naomi because I saw her passion burn so bright. So I hooked her up with the right people and such. And mostly because I wanted you to never mind. Meanwhile, Naomi was somewhere no one could find her. She curled into a ball, eyes glued to her phone. I'm such a big fat loser. Right then, Scarlett's phone got a text message. It's from Naomi. Scarlett's face darkened as she read it. I'm doing fine, but I need some time for myself, so I'll be away for a while. Don't look for me. At this point, we should put aside our differences and search for Naomi together. Both Finn and Scarlett looked everywhere, but found no info on Naomi's whereabouts. It's like she vanished into thin air or used Ninja's technique to hide herself. Also, Scarlett was really busy fulfilling her duties as a model. This is so weird. Naomi can't go a day without updating her story, but it's been days without anything new on all of her socials. All right, you're a little pale lately, Scarlett. It's one thing to worry about Naomi, but take care of yourself, okay? Like you care. Of course I do. You are my sole focus now. Don't just push me away. Aw, who can stay mad at someone this sweet? Since Scarlett and Finn resumed their collaboration, her popularity soared. However, they made no progress in finding Naomi, which upset Scarlett. Even though she's surrounded by fancy material stuff, she wasn't truly at ease. All of a sudden, #CancelScarlett became #1 on Twitter's trending page. Then multiple screenshots of seriously problematic tweets that are supposedly from Scarlett's account surfaced, causing more public backlash. Obviously, she got boycotted, which led to her follower count plummeting and her losing contracts with multiple brands. Despite the company's effort to clear everything up, the damage was done. The fact that those photos were fake couldn't stop keyboard warriors from attacking her, and Scarlett had to face horrible insults on a daily basis. So, all this time, Naomi had to deal with this kind of stuff? That must have been mentally excruciating, especially since she couldn't share with anyone. And I even reprimanded her. Naomi, where are you now? I'll definitely find out who's behind all of that. Cyberbullies must pay. You all think you can hide behind your screen and spit out whatever filthy words you know to bring down people with a reputation to uphold. You picked the wrong targets this time. It wasn't easy, but thanks to the company's resources, Scarlett's team managed to track down everyone who ever made hate comments against the sisters and brought them to the police. But when Scarlett came down to the station and saw the lineup, an astonishing sight welcomed her. One of them was Naomi.
Hey, Arnie here. I'm a freshman at college, and I guess you could call me a nerd. I mean, I'm fascinated by computers and techie stuff, and I'm majoring in computer science. I'm just a regular guy who would much rather spend my free time on my computer than out partying. I don't really care about my appearance. As I see it, clothes are clothes. So a slouchy t-shirt and jeans will do me. I also suck at socializing. I clam up and just end up talking nonsense. I guess that's why I usually stick to being in my own computer guy bubble. Well, at least I did until I met Camilla. I'd never had a girlfriend before, which, given my awkwardness, was no great surprise. My first meeting with Camilla, well, it didn't go all that well. I was running late for my study group in the library. So I was rushing up the stairs and I bumped straight into Camilla, who was reading a book while walking down the stairs. I watched on horrified as she fell down the stairs. She fractured her ankle, and I felt so guilty and blamed myself for this. After that, I tried being the good guy and helping her out. I offered to carry her bag to class, but she huffed out. "Could you please stay away from me? I don't need your help, okay?" Then she glared at me. Another time I bumped into Camilla while she was sitting on the grass and passionately reading Twilight. So I bought her a signed copy of the second book in the series. She stuck her nose up at me, told me that book was so last decade, then limped off. I guess she was still mad at me for the accident. But then the next time I saw her, she was reading the book I gave her. She giggled, then said to me, "Okay, this is actually a really neat gift, thanks." After that, we started talking more, and I even helped her out with her studying. I'd never met a girl like Camilla before. She was so gentle, girly, and pretty. But like my thing was computers, her thing was books. She adored them, and she always had her head in a book. I admired this about her. A girl who reads as many books as she did must have a beautiful soul. I found myself falling for her, but being the awkward guy I am, I didn't think I stood a chance. Then one time after I'd finished helping her study, she leaned over and kissed me. Trust me, no one was as shocked about this as me. Not long after, we became an official couple, and at first everything was great. However, Camilla gradually became more and more addicted to her reading. She loved romance fiction, from the classics such as Pride and Prejudice, to more modern affairs such as The Fault in Our Stars. She loved them all. There were days she got so caught up in these fictional worlds that she read from night till early next morning, and she even missed college because she was too tired to go. We went to the library a lot to study together. While I studied, she usually stared dreamily out the window. lost in whatever fictional world was currently occupying her mind. And when I'd called her name, she never answered. After she finished each book, she went into this depressive state. It's like she couldn't deal with reality. After she'd finished reading The Notebook, she moaned that I wasn't handsome and attentive like Noah. I tried to ignore her, but then she finished reading the second book in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series and shouted at me that Peter not only pampers his girlfriend, but he also plays sports and has a six-pack. She told me I should start working out and stop eating so much chocolate. Okay, so her comment did hurt. I always sucked at sports and was self-conscious about my lanky frame. So I started going to the gym to please Camilla. She seemed happy about this and mentioned something about being proud of having a boyfriend who was good at both studying and sports. Just like the handsome guys in romantic fiction. But honestly, I didn't like the gym all that much. My friend was on the basketball team, so I told him I wanted to join. Yeah, I hated it, but Camilla thought it was very impressive. During my first game, she stood at the side of the court and shouted, "Baby, I love you! Come on! I know you can do it, honey!" OMG, talk about cringeworthy. I knew she was very proud seeing me playing basketball, so it made me full of energy and I just longed for scoring. I was so nervous that I accidentally scored in the wrong net. Suddenly, she disappointedly shouted, "Oh no, Edward would never have embarrassed me like that." And that's when all of my teammates turned to me and laughed frantically, which made me really embarrassed. I threw the ball against the playground and walked to her angrily and asked, "Edward? Who's Edward?" Then I stormed off, leaving her there watching me in shock. I was so sick of being compared with some handsome guy in her fictional world, and sporty things were not an exception. I couldn't take it anymore. The more I participated in sporty things, the more I realized how much I hated them. I pined for computer algorithms. I wasn't a jock, no. I was the nerd who got a thrill from staying up all night writing code. That weekend, probably she wanted to make it up, so she asked me to go to the cinema to see some romance film. I was a bit cooled off, so I agreed. I showed up outside her place to pick her up, and my phone beeped. It was Camilla, telling me she'd be reading all day, now she was too tired to go. Besides, she'd reached the climax of her book, and it was too compelling to put down. I was furious. I stormed back to my place. It felt like Camilla preferred these make-believe guys to me, her actual boyfriend. The next morning, I was still pretty mad. When I explained to Camilla how I felt, she started crying. Then she told me it was my fault for not caring about her last night, as she said she was tired. She wanted a hunk to bring her food, pamper her, and look after her. I couldn't believe what she was saying. Just because I wasn't as dashing as some fictional character guy didn't mean I didn't look after her. How dare she even say otherwise? I know this was crazy, but the problem is I really do love Camilla. So I came to the conclusion that if she wanted some perfect guy, I could be him, right? That evening, after a long day with loads of studying to do, I was about to take a bath, and Camilla texted me, "Bae, I want to eat spaghetti, but it's raining outside." So even though I was tired, I rushed up to buy it for her and brought it to her place. You should have seen her face. She was extremely happy. Seeing her happy made my heart melt. Everything was good, but I ended up being sick. Blech. The next day, Camilla came to my place to look after me. She made me soup and helped me eat it. I ended up falling asleep, and when I woke up, she'd gone. I didn't think that much of this at the time, but then 3 days later, she still hadn't responded to any of my calls or messages. Finally, she answered my call and told me the reason why she was mad. Turns out she imagined herself as the main character in the romantic fiction book she just read. In that story, when the handsome guy got sick and his lover came to visit him, that's when she was feeding him, he kissed her. So she expected me to do the same, only I fell asleep instead. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This was crazy. How could she expect me to be romantic when I was trying my hardest not to throw up? We arranged to meet at a cafe. There I told her how I felt. I just can't do this anymore. I can't be some sporty, handsome, sword-fighting charmer. I'm just a regular geeky me. Accept me for me or it's over. She apologized and began crying. She told me she just got so carried away with the scenarios in her books that she'd try her hardest to be a better girlfriend. A week passed by and Camilla seemed a little better. Then one time when we were outside the college, she pointed over at this sophomore guy and told me she was going to allow him to pursue her because in most romantic fiction books, the main female character usually had 2 guys competing for her. If I could beat this Zach guy off, then it proves I love her. If not, it must mean I never loved her in the first place. What? I stared at her open-mouthed. She'd definitely gone too far this time. I told Camilla I wasn't playing her dumb games anymore, then I stormed off. The next day I saw her talking to that Zach guy. Whatever he was saying to her was making her laugh, and she was twirling her hair around her finger and giggling. Great. Not only was this guy good looking, but he was charming too. He resembled a gallant hero, while I was more like the villain. The problem is, I still love Camilla. How can I get her to realize that romance fiction fever is just that, fiction? Even though I might not be some handsome hero who leaves flower petal trails all over the house, I'm still a good guy who just wants to look after her.